My voice, my videos, exclusively only on Screen Hoopla. Is this Stormy Daniels thing ever going to end? Stormy Daniels is once again in the news, but this time it's because her manager, Gina Rodriguez, has been subpoenaed by the FBI since reports are now confirming that Rodriguez has disclosed information to the FBI about Daniels' attempt to sell the story of the alleged affair with President Trump for $200,000 in the months leading up to the 2016 presidential election. To make matters worse for Stormy Daniels, the FBI also required that Rodriguez to submit any communications between herself and the president's personal attorney, Michael Cohen, Stormy's attorney, and any communications between Rodriguez and Stormy herself. This move was brought on after the FBI learned that Rodriguez spoke with multiple celeb gossip magazines, TV shows, and even websites in hopes of finding a buyer for Stormy's alleged affair story. Rodriguez's scheme fell apart, though, when Stormy took the $130K from Trump's attorney, supposedly, instead of the $200K they planned to sell the story for. If this is proven true, then it once again proves Stormy Daniels is likely a liar after she has said on multiple occasions that the president's lawyer reached out to her out of the blue and she was never trying to profit from the alleged affair. Go figure. Rodriguez is a former adult star herself who quit the business back in 2008. She has represented others in the industry as well as Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels' lawyer, Gina Rodriguez, did respond to the subpoena by handing over records to the FBI, some of those documents pertaining to the 2016 hush money agreement signed by Daniels and Michael Cohen. In the documents Rodriguez handed over to the FBI, there is evidence that Daniels, an adult film star whose legal name is Stephanie Clifford, was working an initial deal with Cohen on October 10th of 2016. Daniels was being represented in the deal by Rodriguez and Daniels' then attorney Keith Davidson, according to the same source. Around the same time, negotiations with Cohen were going on behalf and behind the scenes. Daniels and her manager were shopping a story in several media organizations about Daniels' alleged affair, so inevitably Daniels' 15 minutes of fame might be up. Critics believe she used the story about the affair as a way to spark her dancing and or adult career. Daniels was basically an unknown in the adult world before the incident of the alleged affair happened. Now she appears to be a household name. However, it's probably not the way someone wants to be popular. Sources have indicated that the investigation into President Donald Trump's never-proven ties with Russia is coming to a close, but it is now believed that Democrats and their puppets in the mainstream media are not going to get the showdown that they desperately wanted, and they have Stormy Daniels, of all people, to thank for that. Talks between Robert Mueller's team and the attorneys for President Trump, who were negotiating an interview with investigators and the president, have broken down. Now it appears that Mueller will not get to talk to the president before he concludes his investigation. It was the same type of interview with prosecutors where former President Bill Clinton tripped himself by lying, which led to his impeachment. Democrats have been rubbing their hands together, fantasizing the same thing would happen to President Trump. One such publication to gleefully write about the possibility of President perjuring himself was Bloomberg News. This last February, the publication wrote that the idea of the president talking to Mueller stirs the imagination. Lots of documents and testimony have already been collected in the inquiry. What if the president contradicts the record or himself? Bloomberg continued by stating the crime of making false statements, known among defense lawyers as 1001, its criminal code number, is a common charge brought in federal investigations, leading credence to the saying that the cover-up is worse than the crime. Martha Stewart stands as one of the most famous examples, having been sentenced to 5 months in prison, 5 months of home detention, and a $30,000 fine for lying to federal authorities who were examining her sale of stock in a friend's company. 1001 is a prosecutor's best friend, stated by Michael Koenig, who was a Justice Department prosecutor. It's very simple to explain to a jury. Everyone understands lying. It's not as complicated of accounting fraud cases where you need to understand nuisances of tax laws and security laws. There is no doubt that Mueller was thinking the same thing, but he ruined it for himself with his brash show of force against President Trump's attorney, Michael Cohen. It was the raid on Cohen's office that put the entire prospect of interviewing the president in jeopardy. Before the raid, Mueller and his team were planning on having its investigation wrapped up in the next couple of months, sometime between May and July. But that was predicted on interviewing President Trump, according to 3 sources who spoke to NBC News. It was described as one of the last steps to take before closing the investigation into the alleged obstruction. The report came shortly after the president tweeted about his cooperation with the investigation. Quote, "I have agreed with the historically cooperative, disciplined approach that we have engaged with Robert Mueller, unlike the Clintons." The president wrote, "I have full confidence in Ty Cobb, my special counsel, and have been fully advised throughout each phase of the process." Now, with the interview of the president possibility destroyed, the investigation could wrap up even quicker, and Cohen's raid significantly complicated the prospect of interviewing President Trump, but the sources cautioned that you could never say never. White House counsel Ty Cobb said that in the interview of talks collapsing was untrue, but Cobb was a vested interest in not embarrassing Mueller's team. And it would be a major embarrassment if it was discovered that Mueller ruined his own investigation because he wanted to get a popcorn headline by raiding Cohen's office to find evidence of an affair between the president and porn star Stormy Daniels. In fact, if the raid does ruin the chances of an interview with the president, as it now appears, then one could say that the Stormy Daniels scandal, which Democrats believed could damage the president, might be the thing that literally saves him from this witch hunt. Most people are aware that Paul Manafort, who ran President Trump's campaign for 3 months, was targeted by special counsel Robert Mueller in the Trump-Russia witch hunt. Manafort is being used as a scapegoat, and all Mueller can find on him is some shady dealings with the 2014 when he was working with the Ukrainian president, who he had been hired to help get elected. In fact, the charges are so flimsy that his attorneys demanded Mueller release the orders of his investigative powers in the case to the public, which they knew would incriminate Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein and Mueller. This was a sting operation from the beginning, and Mueller took the bait. The exact order from the DOJ website reads, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein announced the appointment of former Department of Justice official and FBI Director Robert S. Mueller to serve as special counsel to oversee the previously confirmed FBI investigation of Russian government efforts to influence the 2016 presidential election and related matters. This was dated Wednesday, May 17, 2017. The reason Rosenstein could not give Mueller power to investigate Trump is simple. There had been no evidence found that President Trump or anyone in his campaign had done anything illegal with Russians or anyone else, except we now know, thanks to Manafort's attorneys, that the rat Rosenstein did file a secret scope of investigative powers that included Trump as the target in May of 2017. This secret order says links or coordinated between the Russian government and the campaign of Donald Trump, matters that may arise from the investigation of the Russian government and the campaign of Donald Trump, and other matters within the scope of 28 CFR-6.4. This order, including Trump as the target of an investigation, is totally illegal. Why? No evidence ever existed against Trump. Rosenstein was setting up Trump to be impeached. What else could it be? Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, it gets worse. In August of 2017, Mueller knew that they are all in trouble and needed Rosenstein to amend these orders dictating that we can investigate again. So what was the big problem with Mueller? Well, and you're going to love this, We know Mueller was hired by Rosenstein and the deep state rats like this best buddy James Comey to get Trump impeached and to cover their tracks and crimes of colluding with Russia and spying on President Trump. The Inspector General Michael Horowitz even has just informed him or them of his discovery of the conspiracy behind the DOJ and the FBI plan against Donald Trump. On July 20th of 2017, Horowitz gets the text messages. Horowitz informs Mueller there is evidence of a conspiracy evident within his own team that had to be an oh my gosh moment for the deep state rats and for Robert Mueller. Quickly, the investigative team needs Rosenstein to narrow the investigation. The last thing the special counsel team needed was an open door to investigate corrupt officials within their own ideological ranks. Lord knows where that would have ended up. Of course, Rosenstein has the new orders all partially redacted, of course, so we cannot see exactly what they said. But we know enough that it is highly suspicious for a new set of rules to be given to a special counsel months later. It's plain and simple. Rosenstein is also dirty. He has been working in concert with Mueller to cover up crimes committed by the deep state rats against President Donald Trump all along. Trump should fire Mueller and Rosenstein now. I don't care if the Democrats go nuts. Let them. This witch hunt is out of control and it's costing U.S. taxpayers millions upon millions of dollars. I'm glad the president is fuming about this. It's time to shut it down and go after every one of those deep state rats. Either we are a country of law and order or we are not. Thank you for watching Screen Hoopla News. I leave you a link below for this article.